Alright, hey everybody, and welcome back to the next video in my Mira's Finest series. This time I'm going to be using Nagi, and just like last time I'm going to be talking about how he plays as a character, his strengths, some of his strengths and weaknesses, and I'll kind of be talking through my build and how I'm going to be using him. So, compared to Mia and Elle, Nagi is a much more selfish character. He focuses on things that help himself. He doesn't really have a whole lot of party-wide buffs or even buffs that he can give to the party in general. And he also doesn't really have the same defensive utility as them in the terms of resistance up, arts, and healing arts, like in the case of L. What he does have, however, is one of the strongest offensive arts in the game in Blossom Dance. Blossom Dance ignores attribute resistances, has a high hit scaling, hits 6 times, and is just very powerful. And then when you combine that with offensive stance, he is probably the strongest offensive character in the game, aside from Cross. He's so strong actually that I have a build for killing Pharsis and 2 Blossom Dances. I'm not sure if it's possible to do with only one, but I at least couldn't make it work. And that, if you're interested, that build will actually be at the end of this video after I'm done showcasing this build. So if that interests you, you can go ahead and watch that afterwards without words. You can watch that too. But other than that, he does have defensive stance, which is once again very good for keeping himself alive. Just doesn't necessarily do a lot for the party. Cool off, which is good for his TP economy, and it also gives him a cleanse for himself, which is pretty nice. In terms of what skills he has a few decent defensive skills in Fortified and Steel Flesh to increase his HP, but that's about where that ends. Mighty Muscles is really only a purely offensive skill, but in terms of TP economy, he has a lot of really good skills. He has Yamato Spirit and Grand Procession, which I'm running. Then in addition to that, he also has Trauma Tension, which gives him extra TP sometimes when he gets hit by an attack, which can be very nice. It's just not what I'm using for this build personally. So for my gear, because I'm going to be using mostly Blossom Dance for damage, I am running a lot of Appendage Crusher and pretty much as much potential as I can stack. My attribute resistances are about normal for what I would run for fighting Pharsis, and you can kind of look at my specific gear right now. If there's anything in particular you want to look at, then here's my resistances and stats. But of note is that I'm using Galaxy Chief as my longsword of choice. It might be argued that there are better longswords I can use like Spatha, but at least for Nagi, I don't think it's any better. At least in my testing, it's done less damage for every build I've tried it on for Nagi. And I think that's just because his potential isn't high enough for the potential boost to matter more than the extra attack power of the Galaxy Chief. Plus he doesn't have Core Crusher, so it being gravity does not matter either. So a quick look at my arts. I'm running defensive and offensive stance so that I can switch between healing whenever I need it and then doing damage whenever I want to. And a quick note about offensive stance is that it was actually pointed out to me that when it's level 6 offensive stance, your defense actually isn't lowered. I got that wrong in another video, so I just thought I would correct that now. Cool off is good for TP economy because it gives you 2000 TP when you use it with an aura, and it also gives you a cleanse, which is very useful for this fight. Bulletstorm is here to help me build overdrive count. True Stream Edge also is there for overdrive count, but it also does some good damage. Burning Slash is my purple art. Well, it's a 2-hit, so it can give me a lot of TP, and it can also inflict thermal resistance down, which is nice for Incendiary Edge. And I have Incendiary Edge and Blossom Dance as my 2 main damage arts of the build. With that out of the way, I don't think there's much more for me to say, so I'm just going to go ahead and hop into the build. As usual, I'm going to target the wing. It shouldn't really matter. I'd be surprised if I even broke this appendage. Because this build does a lot of damage, and she might not have the chance to even heal if I am quick enough on my art rotation. So as usual, I'm going to go ahead and climb out of the skill on the Lethal Tail. Hopefully she'll start walking towards me. Then I'll go ahead and start the overdrive and we'll get going. I also apparently forgot to max out my TP before this, so, you know. It's all good, though. Nagi is very good, so it doesn't matter. So as you can see, Boltstorm just builds up the overdrive counter incredibly fast. I'm actually going to start just going offensive now, rather than waiting for max overdrive count, because a lot of the arts in my rotation are going to be high hit count, and in all honesty, I'm just going to be doing enough damage to where it won't matter, that I'm not quite at max yet. And in my rotation, I'm actually not going to be waiting for the tertiary on True Stream Edge, just because it's not worth waiting for Blossom Dance. She was pretty quick on the heals there, so I guess I'm not going to get to skip that, but... So I'm going to have to go ahead and cleanse off that gravity resistance down. She's probably going to heal again. It's not a very good showcase of how you can skip the healing, but you know, you can still see this build is doing a huge amount of damage. You can go ahead and block the knockback, and I'll have to cleanse off the time bomb. I'm just going to use the level 1 offensive stance. The extra damage I'm not going to take won't matter. This build isn't going to, this fight's not going to last much longer. One Blossom Dance should finish it. And there we go. So, like I said, Nagi does a very large amount of damage. She's a very good character offensively. And I don't really think I have much more to say, so I think that now I'm going to go ahead and cut away to the other build, and I will see you guys in a moment. Alright, so this part of the video is actually being recorded first, even though it's going to be at the end of the video. So I don't know exactly what I said about this before, but I'm just going to assume I said everything I wanted to. This is the 2-shot, or the 2 Blossom Dance kill on Pharsis with Nagi. I'm not going to go into as much detail in my build, you can kind of look at it now. Basically just focusing on potential for damage and Appendage Crusher, while still like trying to maintain some survivability, because I need to take at least like 1 hit. These are the only arts I need, skills are all the same. And as far as I know, Nagi cannot quite get the 1-shot. He might be able to, but at least on my build, with what I'm able to put together, he's still a decent ways off, so I would not be surprised if he just his potential cannot get high enough to do it. The other thing worth mentioning is I'm not running the Spatha. Spatha might be better, but at least in my testing, the Galaxy Chief has worked better because he doesn't have Core Crusher, or as much potential to boost, so this just works out better. The Spatha might be ultimately better, I don't really know, I haven't tested it too much, but this is what I'm running with. And the other thing worth noting is that I don't have Crimson Aurora up right now. As far as I know, the weather does not affect you when you're inside, but even if I'm wrong about that, first of all, someone can tell me about that, and then I'll make an annotation in the description or something. But even if it is, I did test this with Crimson Aurora, and it did not one-shot, so it does not matter either way, at least for this purposes. So I'm not really going to talk too much about what's going on with the fight. It'll be over kind of quickly, and will hopefully kind of just speak for itself. The only thing worth mentioning is I am going to let my skill break, because I do want to get the secondary cooldowns on my arts. The other thing is that if Pharsis uses Roar instead of walking over to do the topple, then I have to run away from the fight, because the topple will kill me if it hits me when I'm on for it. Just waiting on my cooldowns. And this should kill. And that's that. So that's Nagi. He is very powerful offensively because Blossom Dance is a very good art. But Aside from that, I don't really think I have too much to say. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.